So I've spent a lot of time being broke, and I mean years being broke. Over the course of my career, I've earned a good amount of money, and I've also not had much money at all, so I thought that would warrant the title of this video, which is 5 lessons from a broke filmmaker. Also, I'm sitting down today for this video because I went for a run this morning, my legs are a bit fucked. But hopefully you enjoy this different setup, and let's just jump right into it. Lesson number 1, and let's just knock all the cliches out of the way first, and that is patience and persistence. I know, you hear this all the time, but it really is the core of this industry. When I started out wanting to become a filmmaker in about 2007 or 8, I had 2 goals in mind, and those goals were to film bands and travel the world. And in 2015, I was very fortunate enough to go on my first ever international trip with the band, but that took 7 years to achieve. And when I reached this goal, I was over the moon. I was insanely stoked that I finally achieved everything that I set out for when I was a teenager, but still, that took 7 years to achieve. And it really goes to show that this industry is more of a marathon and not a sprint. You hear this all the time about people wanting to become overnight successes, and that's just not the case in this industry. It does take a lot of time, so please be patient. To back that up, I was persistent as hell when it came to this goal. You know, I was reaching out to all different artists, labels, managers, just anyone that I could who wanted to get like a music video done or a promo piece done, anything that I felt like was like a smaller goal to get closer to achieving this larger goal that I set out for myself as a teenager. Now, some of these bands that I worked with went on to have really great careers, and I was really fortunate to be a part of that journey, and some weren't, but it really is just like a roll of the dice. But you really just gotta show up every single day to achieve the larger goals that you set out for yourself. And here's some homework for you. Here's a lesson that my dad taught me many years ago, and is to treat your larger goals like the peak of a mountain. Now, when you go up a mountain, you've got to have stops along the way, and there's different milestones to reach that larger goal that you set out for yourself. Or in this case, it's the peak of the mountain. Write down more smaller achievable goals that you think will help you along your journey to reach the larger goals. I know I just said goals like a million times, but this lesson really is true to this day. I still use it for all of the larger goals that I've set out for myself, and it works every single time. Quickly recap, write down the large goals that you have in your mind. Now write smaller, more short-term achievable goals, work on them, and before you know it, you'll be smashing these large goals that you set out for yourself. Congrats! Now, lesson number 2 is rent, don't buy. Over the years, I've spent a lot of money on gear that I thought would be useful for my business that I didn't end up using, or only used a couple of times. It ended up just being a big waste of money. I learned the hard way just to rent your gear first, really try it out on your production, see how it can benefit your work, and then make a decision based on those results. Another great tip is you can persuade your clients to chip in some extra money towards your production and say, hey, if you spend X amount of more dollars, you can get this really cool camera or lens or lighting gear, and you'll get a really good product at the end of the video. And then prior to the shoot, you can do as much research as you can regarding that equipment, and on set you can experiment a lot, and by the end of it, you'll have a video that is so much better than all the other work that you've done previously. You can get really creative with these experiments, and it'll also help you build your skills as a filmmaker. One last quick tip when it comes to renting, try to do a weekend hire and base your client shoot around that time. Then you can spend a day just doing the client work and spend the rest of the time working on projects that you're passionate about, and you can build your reel and just get high quality productions on your website. That way your work looks way more professional, and you can build those skills up to get high paying clients. Lesson number 3 is live within your means. Now, I think this is a pretty obvious one, but in a world full of creators who are, living this lavish lifestyle, renting out these really expensive cars and going on these lavish holidays, I feel like this rule is overseen a lot by all the noise that you see on social media. I can guarantee you that majority of these people who are living this grand life are actually in a lot of debt because they want to flex online, and it's just not worth it in the end. When it comes to this rule, I'm not the type of person to be like, you shouldn't be going out and eating and enjoying your life. I'm actually quite the opposite. I'm all for going out and enjoying yourself, but realizing that, there's consequences to these actions. If you go out for like 3 days in a row and blow all your money, then you can't pay your rent. So a great tip towards this is write down all of your monthly expenses, whether it be, your rent, your bills, taxes, whatever. And then that way you can use this as a guide to how much you should be earning, how much money you have to spend on all of your overheads to keep yourself afloat. Then by the end of the month, if you got extra money, you can spend that on equipment, go on holidays, rent out cars. I don't really give a shit. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it. Lesson number 4 is find your voice. I get it. It's hard in an industry. Why'd that just die? Sorry for the interruption, my monitor died. Alright, lesson number 4 is find your voice, and I get it. It's hard in this world of, creators saying you gotta buy these lights and transitions to make your production go to the next level. And in reality, these people are just trying to sell you a product. And once you do buy this product, along with the thousands of other people that have done it, you're just going to join the end of the line of all these other people using the exact same LUTs and transitions, so you're just going to look like everybody else. So try and find something that you're really passionate about and see it from a different angle. When I was starting out doing my music work, I was doing a lot of speed ramp stuff, and at the time, not many people were, and that's because I was heavily influenced by like the surf and skate culture that I grew up with. And me utilizing these similar film techniques in these surf and skate videos in my music work really stood me out from the crowd. Better yet, learn all your skills from scratch when it comes to color grading, music stuff, visual effects. That way you can find out what works with you and kind of find your own, look and feel to your videos that make you unique. I can guarantee by doing this, you'll have work that stands out from everybody else and you'll be getting a lot more work. Alright, lesson number 5 before my microphone dies is to just have fun with it. And I know we're finishing on another cliche. I know this might be another obvious one, but I have heard over the years people that want to get into the music industry because they hear of like a wedding videographer that earned $5,000 in a weekend, or this director who earned $1 million on their first feature film. I can guarantee that these people don't actually give a shit on the craft of filmmaking and they're just in it to make a quick buck. I can guarantee that if you really do love this industry, you'll be out there shooting as much as you can, and people will eventually see the passion and the love you have for this industry and they'll want to work with you. Clients are more likely to choose someone that's really passionate about the industry rather than, like the senile person who's all about business and it's not really a fun, creative person, trust me. Alright, that wraps up 5 lessons from a broke filmmaker. Leave a comment down below if you have any more tips that you'd like to share to other broke filmmakers. If you found this video useful, please give it a big like. I don't know, maybe we'll start like a little broke filmmaking community. I don't know. Either way, have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya!